Over the last few months, my Airbnb business has been losing so much money. I wasn't really aware because, like I said before, I took a year off and now I'm back to running the business. There's a lot to shore up and a lot of problems that I walked back into. Now, some of this is the whole Airbnb bust stuff, the algorithm change, the bug that Airbnb had. Some of this is just straight bad business stuff. So I've been spending my time trying to fix all these things. This video is an update where I'm at with the money that we're losing, different parts of the business, and many hosts are suffering from some of the same problems that I think we're suffering with. So this video, of course, will have an educational element to it as I show you what we're doing to fix the hemorrhaging of money that we're losing. It's coming from 3 separate places. So let's get into number 1. We're losing a lot of money because of an empty calendar. That's how it's been for the last few months. And a lot of you have seen updates on this. So this is probably the one that you're most familiar with. What happened was there's an oversupply in the market. A lot of hosts joined Airbnb and pushed relative demand down. As there's more supply, the same amount of demand is a lower percentage compared to supply. Relative demand goes down, the price for properties goes down, there's more empty listings, stuff like that. And so more basic normal listings don't get booked. So we had to attack this in 3 ways. And, I am able to give you guys a good progress report on this because it's been a couple months coming. I personally went to Houston and Austin and repainted a bunch of properties. We did it on a budget because, of course, our properties aren't, spectacular by any means. Our rents are $1,100, $1,200 a month in a lot of our cases. So, I wanted to spend maybe $400 or less per door. So I went down to Austin, painted 3 or 4 different, painting styles there, and then painted some patterns on some walls in some of our Houston properties, did some darker wall colors just to, play with an alternative to the typical setup, which is where you rent a property, you don't do anything to the walls, you just buy furniture and, buy some plants and call it decor. I can tell you that alone, darker wall colors, painting designs, being a little bit more brave, has led to an increase in results. But that wasn't enough to get our calendars full, because what happened with the Airbnb bust and the algorithm change is that listings that were all the way empty, that didn't have future bookings, were getting suppressed on Airbnb's algorithm. So we had to find a way to jam ourselves back up in the algorithm. After a lot of labor, of course, I found that Airbnb was really leaning on things like smart pricing, new accounts, completed listings in all of the little details, and of course now no cleaning fee. And I've done 2 separate webinars on those topics, but having Smart Price active in certain instances is super helpful. Completing your listing all the way. If you have no future bookings and you're not a superhost, making a new listing on a new account could actually be good for you. Segmenting your listings into different cities. So we have a Houston account and a Dallas account and an Austin account, stuff like that. And then switching to a no cleaning fee pricing strategy, all have given us great results. We're finally back into the upper 80% of occupancy. Hopefully we're gonna get to 90% soon. But yes, we did legitimately lose plenty of money on empty calendars. I had to reach in my back pocket and come out and pay rents on some properties where that property didn't make any money. And that was no fun. Having properties that are profitable, funneling all that profit into properties that aren't, isn't good for business. But let's get to number 2. The second one is largely operational mishaps that have led to refunds. So not only did we have empty calendars where our Austin property was so empty that our management team wasn't prepared for a guest. So the one reservation we had in 3 weeks was a 5-day reservation, and that guest got a refund because they couldn't check in and no one was there to help them. No one was available by phone to help them check in. It's really stupid. Now that's like one-off stuff, helping guests check in. Sometimes you make mistakes. This normally happens when you have too much business and not enough staff. In this case, the staff was just so lazy from not having any business that they weren't on point when we did have a reservation. But there's other parts that we've seen common refunds go to, like cleaning problems. One of the main things that we've noticed, and we've talked about this on TikTok lately, is we're moving away from drip coffee stations. And this is for a few reasons. Drip coffee stations cost the same as like a French press or a Chemex. They're less photogenic than a Chemex. So if you take a photo of your coffee station like I teach you, having a Chemex looks a little bit better. They're easier to clean. You don't accidentally forget to open your coffee machine and then leave a filter in there and have moldy coffee. Coffee stations also have these very rigid edges in the basket. If you don't do a good job cleaning it, it'll develop mold even if you thought you cleaned it the right way. And we've noticed that housekeepers who rush their work won't clean things diligently. They'll touch it, but not clean it diligently. You see this right here? Yeah, that's how you tell if this is dirty or not. So we're slowly moving all of the things in our property that can be hard to clean or require a skill set to clean, and we're moving all that stuff towards more simple, easy to interpret, easy to understand, easy to clean, low effort stuff. And a Chemex or a French press is a prime example. I've also had to go through the company and retrain multiple positions. Our housekeepers have a 5-step cleaning system that we teach. The step 4 of our 5-step cleaning system is a self-check. And we have what we call the 4 mantras of step 4. It's 4 phrases that they need to memorize, and as they go through their self-check, they should be saying these mantras back to themselves to remind themselves what things to check for. People weren't doing this. Our management team has a type of what I call a remote walkthrough that checks housekeepers' work without having to go to the property. It's a little hack we have. And our management team stopped doing those remote walkthroughs. We had housekeeping managers not only not doing their walkthroughs, but not doing any housekeeping of their own. So when I came back into the company, I fired all of our housekeeping leadership and am now retraining our housekeepers from scratch. We also are including housekeepers more in the wins of our business, and this is a big part. If housekeepers don't know why their work matters, they're not going to try as hard. So we've included them in our operational chats to show them that a good clean leads to a well-run business and that a bad quality of clean leads to having to put out fires. Now that they see how they are part of a team that exists outside the cleaning itself, they're being more engaged and they're doing better work. We did have to terminate some of our most crabby housekeepers when I came back in, but morale has increased by getting rid of some of our more dramatic housekeeping team. Same thing with our customer service staff. I actually have this wall of notes that I pinned inside of our group chats inside of one of our softwares that we use, and it says truths to live by. And I'm not gonna give you all those mantras too, because that of course is for a company that has a dedicated customer experience team. And if you have a dedicated customer experience team, you're probably one of my competitors. I'm not gonna teach you all everything here if you are that big, but we have phrases inside of that like no surprises, or if it's 5% our fault, it's 100% our fault. And these types of North Star truths help guide our customer experience team through working with guests who really need our help at check-in or mid-stay or whenever. And this helps our customer experience team lead with empathy instead of combativeness or judginess. Now, this stuff has increased our 5-star reviews by 20%. We're getting 20% more 5-star reviews on average, and we're giving away less refunds. So this kind of stuff works. Number 3 is not a fun conversation. It's theft. And it's not the theft you think, though. We've had it where somebody's broken into a property and stolen all the TVs out of a 6-apartment complex in Philadelphia, or somebody in Houston broke into a 2-bedroom property and stole everything. We've had stuff like this happen, but what we've noticed is that we have theft of like supplies and consumables. So we're making a key change to the way that we're doing our like restocks and our logistics. Let me show you my garage.
So I'm just here in my garage, and here's what we're doing to prevent theft or prevent the amount of money we'll lose in instances of theft. Check this out. You may have seen in a previous video where we have our housekeepers use cleaning caddies, but instead of giving them full jugs of Fabuloso or giving the guests full jugs of Fabuloso or 32-ounce bottles of shampoo where they could have this whole big pump shampoo and steal like a family-sized one. Instead, what we're doing now is our housekeepers get filled bottles of Fabuloso, Windex, other stuff, non-name brand, basically put into their cleaning caddies, which saves us money. And then guests get these little cleaning stations where Windex or Fabuloso or Lysol can go in these, but there's such a small amount, like 3 or 4 ounces, and they go in these little baskets. So their cleaning supply baskets will be super small like this. This prevents them from wanting to steal a whole thing because it's name brand, right? There's less temptation to steal this. In the same way that we're doing this now in the bathrooms, instead of having big, family-sized bottles of shampoo and body wash, we have little ones of these that have pump tops. And so there'll be 2 to 4 ounces of body wash and shampoo inside these little pump tops. So these also won't be worth stealing. They'll be small and they're not name brand. People won't go, oh yeah, let me steal this little gimpy 2 ounces of body wash. If somebody had like a 32 ounce of either one of these, they might just grab the whole thing and go, wow, $8. Thank you. So this is what we're doing now to ration what people get, and all these supplies, we just merge them together, shipped in here to the garage, and then we pulse them out to our external storage areas, which our storage stuff is, of course, a different topic altogether.
So when it's all said and done, by being much more careful with our supplies, being more empathetic to our customers, using split testing and feedback, real-time data that we get from Airbnb to make the changes that we need to our listing, we've been able to completely repair all the threats to our business. These main 3 can lead to tens of thousands of dollars per month in losses if you're not careful. Too many hosts have an empty calendar, and the reason why they have an empty calendar is they don't understand the power of dynamic pricing, and they have too much ego typically to meet the market where it is. And in really down markets like where the Airbnb bust has put people would rather sit in an empty home than get a low price booking. Now, some people just can't even stomach it. It makes their gut hurt to think that they have to drop their house price to maybe $80 in a night. But if you understand the concept of contribution margin, it starts to make sense. Your bills are going to be your bills either way. You're going to have to pay your rent or your mortgage. You're going to have to pay for your electricity, your internet. Very little of this actually shifts when you get occupancy. If your home sits empty, you still will have some electric bill, a full price mortgage, full price electric. You're going to have that. If you have a full property, 30 days of occupancy, yeah, your electric bill will go up, but not by much. It is better to collect $100 that you can apply towards your mortgage every single day, even if your mortgage was $10,000 a month, Having $100 a day towards your mortgage is better than having $0 a day towards your mortgage. And the second one, with our customer service team and refunds, this typically happens when we start to get too busy to maintain the things that matter most, and we're no longer putting ourselves in the guest position. As you're in a business like this hospitality business, you'll notice that you're gonna start to get more operational minded, because every guest checkout leads to a turnover. Every guest that's upset leads to a need for de-escalation or a resolution. Every time a guest smokes, you're gonna have to clean it and get money out of them. And every time you have a not awesome experience, you have a less awesome outlook on this industry. Now, you cannot punish individual guests for the problems of other guests or past guest behavior. And this is what happened in our company. We used to give this magical Disney experience to everybody, but Haley at one point became so operationally heavy that she started to prioritize preventing bad guests from doing bad things before they ever did a bad thing. It's like spanking your kids before they ever did anything wrong. So we had automated messages that told guests that if you threw a party, we would call the cops. That would be one of the very first messages that anybody got in our company. Absolutely asinine, and it had to go. So we have more of a focus on hospitality now, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, where secretly we have systems in place that they don't know about. So if they do something stupid, yes, we'll catch them, and yes, we'll handle it. This third one was a best practice. It's a supply chain best practice. It's controlling how much stuff we give a guest and really curbing their desire to steal stuff. We can give someone a great experience in a controlled way without tempting them to steal, because we're not giving them stuff on a silver platter to steal. And even though the guests would pay for this in the resolution center, it still takes time and effort to restock all this stuff all of the time. And we can still make the mistake of not going through a resolution claim because the housekeeper didn't know that that was a brand new 32-ounce bottle of like herbal essence, and that should have been $8. Now we don't ever have to worry about that because we have a controlled system of units for all of our inventory. If you guys want to learn more of the really high-level system stuff, like the really crazy system stuff, join my free Facebook group, the Hosted Airbnb Automated. We start to talk about stuff like that there, and then you can talk to some of my students that have 10, 20, 30, 50 properties and maybe learn a little bit of what they're learning from me. I do teach in private, but sometimes they'll give up the goose in a public forum like that. If you guys have any other questions about how to run your Airbnb business the right way, not lose money, this is the place to do it. As some of you know, I've been doing this for 8 years. This is my fourth seven-figure business. I'm a business owner, and I just happen to be doing Airbnb. I have 150 properties, and yes, I took a year off. It was mostly good, but now coming back to problems has given me a better chance to grow and which to service you guys through new information like this. We're gonna have a lot of fun this year. I hope you're ready. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, guys, I'll see you on the other side.